Hello, today is Tuesday, the 16th of March 2021, and it is an amazing, powerful day. We begin Yellow Human Wavespell. So let me show you where we're at on the calendar. Okay, so there we go. So as you can see, we're in the white, we're in beginning the yellow human. So this is the last 13 days of the White Castle. And with it being yellow human is the 12th mind sign. It's a manifestation of where we are as a human being right now. So in terms of where this began, up here on the 15th of December, we've gone through the Red Castle. So we've been awakened in Sagittarius initiation as to our Akashic record, our storyline, our ancestral patterning, our karma, if you like. And we've now been working with it in the white to refine, take action, come into truth. So in the Red Castle, we're in Red Dragon, so we're awakening to our survival issues on one level. Then we go into Red Skywalker, which is working with this awakening energy, waking up consciousness, and refining it so that we learn what has created hell on earth for us and all our ancestors, and how to create heaven on earth for us now by making these changes around moving from surviving to thriving. So, as you can see, tomorrow we go into a portal day, and then we have another portal day here, and then we complete a 20-day cycle, and we go up to beginning another one up here. Okay, so lots of things happening, which I'm going to go into. This is an amazing day, as I say, because we're in the Sun in Pisces and we're counting down now to the Spring Equinox next weekend. Today we have the Sun at Pisces 26, which is an amazing step. Pisces is traditionally in the zodiac as the 12th house, and the 12th house is where all our hidden power is. So issues around where we've had our power taken from us in some way, we've experienced relationship in an abusive way as a human being. This is our karma, our pattern is what I mean by that. This is a pattern that will be in our family line in some way. And the more that you go into research with the Mayan calendar and mapping your family constellations and your zodiac, your personal zodiac, these are maps that reveal where we've been, where we are right now, and where we are headed. And there's lots of different trajectories on that potentiality as to where we're going. So at the moment, we're sort of in the harbour. We are waiting to set sail. One of my favourite films as a child was Jason and the Argonauts. And so this is the Aries, the search for the golden fleece, which begins on the 20th of March this year in the Northern Hemisphere. We are going to launch, we are going to set sail, we are going to begin the solar wheel. And so this is all part of this 13-day cycle. And Aries being I, the hero and heroine in the story, if you have been focusing on your inner work over the last 6 months, doing the Persephone path, where Persephone goes down into the underworld, I run a group every year with a group of women, and we focus on what happened last year during the solar wheel, and then work on consciously focusing on these patterns and, most importantly, healing them so that we take our power back on an energetic level, on a heart level, especially heal our emotions. This is so key. This is what Pisces is all about, coming into Christ consciousness through clarity, being clear of the wounding story, and embodying Christ code, which on a very simple level means coming into a process of getting clear of old beliefs, distortions that aren't truth, that aren't honesty, and that don't create loving, respectful relationship for us as an individual human being. So things that we may have picked up along the way, that we've learned, that we thought were truths because that was the society that we grew up in, or the village we grew up in, or that was our family story. Often the people that I work with are the black sheep of the family. They're the Aquarian energy. They're the alternative people, the contrary Marys, who don't buy the family line and are doing something different. And this, of course, is very apparent at the moment. So where Pisces is in your chart, especially where 26 degrees is in your chart. So again, just to clarify that, each month has a day which is a degree. So in the zodiac, there's 0 to 30 degrees, but the actual 30th degree isn't mentioned. We got to the 29th degree, and that's a key turning point. So each month it's split this 30 degrees into 3 lots of 10 degrees. And so you can see this in your chart. And this is very important if you want to go and drill down and get very precise what these degrees mean. This is invaluable information as you start to learn and expand your consciousness. So by the time we get to 26 degrees, it is a very, very important degree for creating change. So it's about the collective consciousness, it's about what's going on around us, and then how we can really work with understanding how I heal myself, I change myself, I change the world. Whereas we've been conditioned to believe that we do things on the outside of us, we create projects, we create things from old belief systems and from old, often unconscious ways of relating as well, still holding this wound from the past. So it's like holding a magic spell, if you like. We've been living all these fairy tales, most of which are around repression of the sacred feminine. So they're an old patriarchal story. That means the feminine aspects of us all as human beings are weak, and that we don't have psychic energy, we don't have anything that can't be proven by science. This is an age-old thing going back to the split between science and faith. And of course, in an alternative viewpoint, they can all work together harmoniously. And this becomes more and more apparent as we balance the masculine and feminine within us. We do healing work using energy therapies, in particular, emotional freedom technique is the key, which is the secret, which is so powerful. How to heal your personal disempowerment stories and become clear and free so that you can set sail on your magical adventure more and more, because you're free of the lesson, the learning, the wounding of the old story. And so you've released your starseed, and as a human being, you're ready to do your mission, which is what we all came here for. So at this moment in time, this week, today, are you ready to launch your heart's desire, which is your soul seeded mission? We're counting down now to the 29th of March, which is the next big cycle, and it's the next 52-day process. And I have a program running then. So if you'd like to be a part of this, please do get in touch so that we can prepare you for this amazing gateway. So I am going to do a separate video about that. So watch this space. At the moment, there's so much happening. The energy is starting to pick up. I'm getting busier and busier doing things. And so I'm just getting things out there as and when I can. And today, the focus is on yellow human. So we've got Sun, 26 degrees Pisces today. That's one of the keys. And we've also got the moon, as I am making this video, at 29 degrees of Aries. So this is what's known as the Animatic Degree. If you've got a 29-degree point in your chart, it's very important because it means you've spent many lifetimes doing that aspect and you're ready to go to the next stage. So I'm just going to read for you the 29 degrees of Aries. So Aries is about who am I? It's about new beginnings. What's my story? How do I rewrite my story, keep what's really great and serves me and is wise? And how do I let go of what is no longer serving me? Aries 29 degrees, this is aquaorfire.net, and it comes from a channeled work by Inside Degrees, if you want to check that out. Dr. Jekyll drinks the potion. The unconscious mind and the subconscious mind bear seeds of worlds which the conscious mind had yet to penetrate. These worlds can turn from dark to light and back again, but they are there, crying out to be fathomed, accessed, given their parts in the dance. It's no longer possible to push into far shadows, that part of the light which dwells in darkness. And so you must bring up playfully or mischievously, candidly or surreptitiously, all of the hidden places, so that nobody can deny how much of our energy and resource indwells the deep, and how all of our being longs to be known, to be seen, to be activated, to partake in the dance of life freely. So this is the key, this is the secret that most people run away from. The shadow is what holds the treasure, is the alchemy, is the space for us to focus on now, because the shadow story is what's looming large right now on the planet. All of people's fears, all of people's projections, all of their ancestors' stories in this cumulative cloud of past experiences projecting what's happening today. And of course, this is perfect as it is. It doesn't feel perfect a lot of the time, but it's just where we're at in the process on planet Earth as human beings right now. So in terms of how we change that, I'm just going to reveal the cards today. It's learning how to work with your shadow. That's it. That's the whole bottom line in a nutshell. work with your shadow story, heal it, change your behaviour, change your belief system, and start to live a different life. So, in terms of the goddess card today, we have got Astarte, Ascension. As you descended to earth as a blazing star, allow me to ascend to the heaven you left, strengthened by your power and your wisdom. So, again, a lot of these calendars, a lot of these cards, divinity codes, they are ancient ways of working with the planets, and in particular, the Mayan calendar working with Venus. So, Venus moves to being an evening star on March the 26th, I believe. And so, again, this is so key to the Mayan calendar and how to access information about yourself, depending on when you were born as well, what was going on in the starry skies, which that's a key focus of my work. It's cosmic codes, and it's how to use that information in your chart along with what's happening on in the universe at the time that's accessing your codes. So it's like we've got a cosmic barcode as a human being. We come in with a mission impossible. Should we choose to accept it, we go to a very different level. And the key force is to know yourself, start to learn about your cosmic codes, start to learn about your ancestral story, and really start to heal it. Most importantly, learn how to do this. This is why emotional freedom technique is so key, because it's a difference that makes a difference. You can't do it with your head. It's not an intellectual thing. Remember, we can know lots of things, and I guess you may have experienced this and seen other people experience this as well, where we think we understand something, we have an intellectual understanding about it, but our behaviour doesn't match that understanding. And we're seeing a lot of that at the moment as well, where we may have had a perception about somebody and now their behaviour has become very different because of what's happening on the planet. So often people at the moment are not really doing critical thinking, they're not doing logical thinking, they're not really doing research in a lot of ways in a logical way. They're doing emotionally led behaviour. And this is so key to this card here today. So I'm just going to bring that in really close. So all of these Thoth cards, and Thoth being the librarian, also Thoth is the being that comes at the end of times. Very significant to reveal the information that we need to let go of these old times. We'll go back to that in a sec. And we've got universal movement, which is what happened yesterday to you in Blue Cosmic Monkey. Blue Cosmic Monkey is a really key template to be used as to what shifted for you yesterday around your childhood storyline. What did you experience yesterday? It was the last day of Blue Storm, the transformation process. So things that you experienced, all good information. If you were emotionally triggered yesterday, that's a really key pointer to use for your personal alchemy. So, Queen of Wands energy. So this is a card that I get quite a lot because I'm a Leo, and I get Queen of Swords as well. That's my Aquarius rising, and I have other placements as well that align with this. in my chart. Now, the great thing about Thoth is it gives you very specific degrees. So again, if you watch my videos on a regular basis, you'll know that I refer you to elitarotstrikingly.com because his website is fantastic. The amount of information he puts from all different frameworks as well, which is really, really key. So any of the queens are about personal sovereignty. And so to just go back to Pisces again, where that is in your chart is really key, because there will be issues around boundaries, there'll be issues around addictions, there'll be issues around health, wealth, what you want to get clear of, old storyline. So you can embody Christ consciousness. And I don't use that word with a religious overtone. I use it as a process of coming into ways of being as a human being that model the story of Christ. So we all go through a Christ process if we are doing inner healing and if we're following the heart path, the spiritual path, embodying that. So not just with our head, but actually going through the process. So everything that he went through as a model, as did other great teachers that have been on the planet, we can model that process. And that's a different way of looking at it as to why that storyline happened at that time in the age of Pisces, which we're transiting out of into the age of Aquarius. So people have come to show us a model that will set us free from the old human being story. And it isn't an easy process to do. There aren't very many people doing it on the planet right now. And often when we encounter people who have no awareness of this on any level, are very mundane, excuse me, very mundane on one level, very 3D experiential people, then we're often at odds with how we relate to each other because we're just speaking a different language and we're doing a different process. So coming into our sovereignty, doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman on this level, it's bringing the sacred feminine into balance for all of us. So we're balanced within with our masculine and feminine. And this means healing all the times that we've been out of balance, all the times when we have experienced relationship with somebody in an out of balance way. And if you're watching this as an empathetic person, so you're a deep feeling person, Pisces is really key for you. If you've got Chiron in Pisces, which you will have, if you're a similar age to me, so if you were born around 1965, and that's quite a long transit, Google that. I'm not sure on the exact dates, but it was a long transit. So it covers quite a big generational age group. So often, as a way of getting out of our body, of not being in an environment that doesn't feel good, many young people going through this transit, and again, still today, really, using drugs, using alcohol, using things to take them into out of body experiences in order to remove the mind conditioned template that they were experiencing every day. So we see people using these addictive behaviours to take the edge off. They're a coping mechanism from everyday life. And we can now start to do different things so that we experience heaven on earth without the need to take the edge off or do anything that creates additional problems for us. So if you take painkillers, there are side effects. If you take any drugs, there are side effects, because deep down underneath, there is a part of us that's wanting truth, that's wanting a different relationship. So nothing will take the edge off that. And often it masks it for a long time. And it makes our life more difficult until we actually address, as a human being, what makes our heart sing, and decide, commit to do it no matter what it takes to live the dream that we feel drawn to. So it's recognizing that in our society we have a lot of suppression, a lot of repression of free spirit. And again, this goes back to this card. So if you look at the card itself, there's lots of information on there. She is about this time now, so from the 21st degree of Pisces to the 20th degree of Aries, and represents the mysteries of the watery part of fire. So fire is spirit, and the watery part of spirit is spiritual intelligence, or the conscious spirit. So again, emotions. And when we've healed our emotions, so when we're coming from a place of being on fire, with enthusiasm, with joy, with passion for what we believe in, it's a very different energy than coming from a place of anger, or from coming from a place of sadness, or coming from a place of frustration, wanting to share a way of being that's coming from that place. That unhealed place creates a very different outcome, and it's not a place of sovereignty. So again, this is very much about coming into personal sovereignty through healing. Otherwise, the Queen of Wands can be a very formidable energy. And so again, he talks about a myth of a demigoddess called Empusa, who was the daughter of the goddess Hecate and the spirit Mormo. So she is a renowned figure. I'm not going to go more into this huge myths about her. And if you want to know more, just check out his website. And so it's like an energy vampire in a way, so feeding off the blood of others instead of healing, clearing, and coming into our power, changing our hero and heroine story. So she represents adaptability, persistent energy, calm authority that she uses to add to her attractiveness, kind and generous to those who don't oppose her, hates opposition, powerfully gracious in love and friendship, all of which she is on her own terms. So no codependency, no people pleasing, no ego coping mechanisms. So this takes a lot of work to get to this place. Her passionate emotion creates a tendency to be sidetracked from goals, a deep desire to understand the deeper aspects of herself, hot passion, and sharp wit. So at this time, we're really having a look at what's manifest in us and looking at what karmic stories we've experienced over the creating heaven and earth 52-day process. And most importantly, what's coming up to be triggered in Blue Storm, what takes us out of our centre, what have we seen in the last 13 days that does that. Blue Storm, remember the planet is Pluto, so this is what needs to die so that we can live of our shadow story. And make no mistake, if we carry on with this story, the lessons get harder and harder until we pay attention, until we make the changes that we need to make. So this week, beginning today in particular, is a launch to stop doing the old wounding story. You've got the information, over the past year. So we're coming up to a year, 23rd of March in the UK since the last lockdown. What were you doing last year at this time? What were you doing? What were your hopes, dreams? What was your intention? What was your goal before everything changed and you couldn't do what you wanted to do? So focus on that. Start making a list around how your life has changed. And I know for a lot of people, their life has changed for the better over the last year because it's a huge pattern interrupt. So it's made us pay attention. It's offered us an alternative life viewpoint, perspective. It will have highlighted things in our life that weren't working, that were working. So we want to really focus and drill down now on what needs to change for us as a human being. And today there's a lot more astrology, so I'm just going to share that with you.